All right, we're live here. Hey, Stone.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Fireside. What'd you say, Kevin?
Oh, how's everyone doing in the audience today? So we're here at Founders Live, San Francisco. You have your familiar face, Stone. All right, we're live here. And then let's just get the audio check going.
Welcome live.
Let's see. Mute that. Okay. Stone, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Kevin. Can you hear me?
Perfect. All right. Okay, Stone, I think we're good. So it's Stone here, a familiar face that you're all familiar with if you've been at our in-person events. And, I'm Kevin, and I'm going to be co-hosting this along with Stone. And so, Stone, I'll let you take it away from here and tell us, what is this online Founders Live event about?
Thank you. Well, so for the folks that have been here before, you know the drill of this. For those that are new, there's a couple new things, which is exciting. Founders Live is really just the place for entrepreneurs and founders to come and have a community. And we're going to have 5 companies that are going to go head to head in a 99-second pitch competition. The audience will get a few minutes to ask their questions. And before that, we are actually going to be doing a little fireside chat with a resident startup expert that Kevin's going to be chatting with for a little bit.
Awesome. And we have a comment box here on YouTube. And if the audience puts in their comments, then we can actually bring it up. We would love to know who's in the audience. So please put a comment and we'll love to say hi to our community.
If you've been here before, we want to hear from you. If it's your first time, we want to hear from you. We're excited to have you here. And we're excited to be taking Founders Live virtual. This is, we've done virtual in other cities. This is the first time we've done it for San Francisco. Oh, Ashley, great to hear from you. Thank you.
Yeah, Ashley. Welcome, Ashley. It's great to have you here. Cool. Who else do we have?
And before we go too far, we're going to also be jumping into a little video from the founder of Founders Live to give you a little bit more synopsis of all the cool stuff that's going on. Kevin, do we have that video ready? Oh, we got Nancy here. Startups, and Na actually, everybody, is one of our team members on the back end. She's been instrumental in putting this all together. So she may not be able to see a big round of applause to Na. Thank you.
Yeah, Na helped us with Joshua Krammes, our host this evening, that we'll be doing a fireside chat with.
Nice.
Kalia. Hi, Kalia. Great to see you. Josh Lowe. Great to see you guys. We'd love to know where you guys are too. We have audience members, I'm sure, from the Bay Area, Seattle. I'm originally from Seattle. So Stone, you're from Seattle as well.
Yeah, we're both transplants down here for San Francisco. But it looks like we've got 20 people tuning in so far. We've got a nice little group going.
How do you pronounce this, Stone? Blah.
I was just trying to figure that out. Connor is at the end. I can get that one right.
He seems to love traveling. He has a little suitcase with him.
Yeah.
So, or maybe he's from school.
I'm not sure he's old enough to be traveling on his own based on that picture.
No, thanks.
Yeah.
Super fun, guys. Super fun. We have Kalia from Berkeley. She said hi earlier. Kalia, welcome from Berkeley, currently in SoCal.
Nice. And Kalia, I think we're also going to be having some maybe LA or San Diego events popping up virtually sooner than later. So keep an eye out for those with Founders Live.
Daisy, hello from San Francisco. Hello, Daisy.
Hey, Daisy. Welcome. Cool. Oh, we got Noah, another Berkeley student. Great. And Jack in Portland. Oh, we got a San Jose person.
Should we try pronouncing this? Nick Shia.
Yeah, you go for it.
One.
That's a lot.
Great to have you here.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
I know we're over here. They're having a great conversation going on over here.
Yeah. Maybe we should just leave it up to them. Oh, we've got, Adalia. Yeah, I remember you, Adalia. Great to have you.
Oh, it's great to have
Renee,
people.
nice. Renee is one of our former presenters. This is, we got a nice little turnout here, folks.
Yeah. So today we're going to have 4 presenters, and we're planning to do this every 4 to 6 weeks. So if any of you know young startups, that for us that means pre-Series A, we would love to hear from you. So
we're always looking for more startups to present, and this is, as you'll find out, this is a great proving ground to test how concise you can be describing your company. Oh, Rob, wow, all the way from Baltimore. Great.
From Baltimore.
Good to have you here. Cool. Thanks for staying up late for this.
So much action. This is
Sam in New York.
There's Rob. New York, first East Coast person declaring himself.
Well, Baltimore's, I mean.
Oh, we had a Baltimore person. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Cool. East Coast. Anyone out international here? Anyone outside of the US? We'll include Hawaii as international.
It's a stretch. All right. We'll let
United States, at least.
Let it slide.
Yeah. All right. Okay, we'll go to the video.
Yeah. Let's hear from Nick.
So here's a video from our founder of Founders Live.
Founders Live is the global venue for modern entrepreneurs, especially during these very challenging times. The direct impact of COVID-19 is currently being felt around the world, and it could get worse before it gets better. We are here to help you through these challenging times by connecting you to the people, information, and resources meant to move you forward as you start your next project.
We see an opportunity to bring the resources and capital and connections to the people that need it and the people that can use it, no matter where they live in the world. My honest opinion is, no matter what the economic climate is in the world, Founders Live can be important. In the good times, when it's booming, we're here to help grow companies and have them access capital that's flowing around the world and really be a fun, great event and global platform that powers entrepreneurship. In the tough times, we actually think we can be the answer, given the fact that if people are actually getting laid off and unemployment starts rising, well, the choice to start their own business is front and center, and Founders Live is right there to help them grow. I believe the secret sauce of Founders Live lies in the combination of these 3 words: inspiration, education, and entertainment. Inspiration is rooted in the energy and the passion that every single attendee has. The education is the information that we're bringing to people that they otherwise couldn't find. Founders Live Online helps solve entrepreneurs' daily challenges. If you have a question that you're just wondering, like, I don't know what to do here, you simply need to just type it into Founders Live and someone else will answer it right there for you. And the entertainment is the fun. We believe business should be fun, we believe it should be casual, and we believe it should be inspirational. Founders Live is the perfect place for you to connect with other entrepreneurs and to be inspired.
Awesome, we're back. Kevin and Stone here. That was a video message from the founder of Founders Live. I actually had not seen that before. I saw a previous version, but not that version.
Oh, you hadn't? Yeah. It's there was the original version from the past couple of years that's been great, but yeah, he just put out a new one, I think in January or February of this year. It's it's I would say the Founders Live has come a long way, and actually it looks like we've got Aaron Rose, who is in Seattle and attended the first Founders Live event several years ago.
Wow, Aaron, that is incredible.
Yeah.
Welcome back here. I actually saw a picture of that event where Nick presented at, and that was incredible. And I was one of the early winners of Founders Live when it was just in one city. And now we're in 60 cities all over the world. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think we just hit 62.
62.
Yeah.
Montreal. I believe Montreal is the latest city.
Nice.
But this was an incredible event for me in terms of just being seen and heard and practicing presentations and my presentation skills and networking within the audience. We'll actually have a networking session towards the end. So at around 8:30, we'll start a Zoom call. Looking forward to see everyone in the chat over there, whoever can make it. Couple more highs, and then we'll get started with the next part of the presentation. So Mike, hi Mike, Founders City Live Leader all the way from Indonesia. I think we just started.
Welcome, Mike. Glad to have you, even if you're on the other side of the world. Thanks for staying.
What time is it over there, Mike?
I think there's about an 8-second delay, so we might have to wait a few seconds.
Yeah, 10 seconds we'll know, and then he'll need to like reply, right? So
yeah. Well, shall we jump into the presentation, introduce a little bit more about Founders Live, and then we can start moving over to the fireside chat.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great. I think this is the perfect time for that. So
great.
Take us away.
All right. Let me just get this presentation up here. Perfect. So as you've heard, Founders Live is designed to be the ultimate entrepreneurial experience and virtual pitch competition. Now, COVID is here, and unfortunately, it's not going away just yet, but that doesn't mean we can't be doing a lot in the meantime. So Founders Live is a global venue for startup founders to really find that community. As Nick said, it's about inspiration, education, and entertainment. Now, this is a global community and your local community. So yes, a lot of us here from San Francisco or the Bay Area, but as you can tell from these comments, people are tuning in from all over, both the US and internationally. And so when you really think about startups and think about the people that are in your same situation, they're not all here in the city, right? They're not all here in the Bay Area. And so this is really a great way for us to connect with each other and find that home, because, you know, we've chosen a life that's a little bit different than most. So the homepage for the modern entrepreneur as Founders Live, it really combines that online community, vital connections between each other and with investors, advisors, videos that are going to help us bring our companies to life, online live events just like this, good articles, educational talks, and member chats and question and answer sessions similar to the fireside chat we're about to jump into. Now, the monthly live events, that's where you're at right now. So currently we've got a bunch of people tuning in. We've got 5 companies that are ready to go with their 99-second pitches. And then you, the audience, gets 4 minutes to ask questions of them. Now, don't hold back. Feel free to make it tough. You know, these are startup founders. They got to know their companies. And, you know, you're trying to find out which one is the best night so you can, which one is the best one tonight, because you all are voting on the winner. The winner is chosen by the audience voting. So after that, we'll have one winner announced. Now, our mission is to become the industry-defining brand for entrepreneurship around the world, right? It's to really set that new standard of what it means to have an entrepreneurial community. So welcome to the next generation of Founders Live. It is not just live events anymore. It's virtual events. It's everything, right? It's those connections. It's those tools, those learnings that we have as a community have brought together. So these city events, the way tonight is going to flow is we'll have some opening entertainment. That's where Kevin and Josh will step in. We'll have our startup pitch competition where all 5 companies present. And then we'll jump into a Zoom happy hour and be able to get to know people, have some breakout rooms, and really get to connect as a community one-to-one. So it's not just me and Kevin up here talking to you. Now, first step is performance. Second step is competition. Third step is networking. And we hope you stick around for the networking because that's the fun part. Now, Founders Live Prime Time is new. It's just getting started, but Founders Live Prime Time is the tournament level of Founders Live. Now, there's going to be a winner tonight, but that winner is eligible to go to Founders Live Primetime. That means that we're going to have competitions that are global in nature. So when you win a city event, you're able to move up to the North American stage, to the national stage. And then we're going to be expanding from North America. We've got a Latin American primetime event, a European and African primetime event, and then Asia and Southeast Asia. And so of these primetime events, we'll have a winner of each, and then there's going to be a global competition. So this all kicks off on September 9th of this year. So the winner tonight, you're not guaranteed a spot on September 9th, but you've got a pretty good chance of getting in. So what started in Seattle with Nick, with who was our gentleman that was here at the very first event, Aaron, with Aaron at the very first event, has now grown. It's all over the world. That's why we've got people coming in from everywhere in over 60 cities. And as Kevin said, Montreal just joined up and is our 62nd city. So if you want to start it in your city, I started doing this 2 years ago. We actually just passed our 2-year anniversary here in San Francisco. It's been a ton of fun. Kevin has joined recently as my co-city leader. And we've come together to put this on virtually. So all it takes is somebody that's interested and ready to bring some people together. Isn't that right, Kevin?
It's an amazing event to build community. When it started here in Seattle, it was pretty small. It was 40 people, and now we have 60 cities all over the world. And this event is happening every 1 to 2 months in each city. So it's a credible international audience now that we have.
So the main things that we want to always bring Founders Live back to, as Nick mentioned, are our 4 core values. So that starts with respectful authenticity. This is really about bringing your whole self to this, because the startup life, as a lot of you know, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. And we're all excited. We love what we do, but that doesn't mean it's always easy. And so being here with each other, this is a community for you to bring that whole self here. Second core value is gather around the campfire. We are storytellers. If you've ever done a pitch, if you've ever had a startup, you know that you have to tell your story. And so this is our way to gather around the campfire and to entertain each other with the stories that we tell. And that's one of the things that Kevin and Josh are going to be doing a little bit of, is gathering around the campfire to chat about the reality of startups. Core value number 3 is open the door. Nobody has a successful startup on their own. You need a team, you need advisors, you need people that help you and open the door for you. And so we just ask that by being here and by being part of this community, you turn around and open the door for somebody else, because that's really important, and that's what makes this whole community keep going. And finally, my favorite, the last core value, is no name tags. Now, we're not in an event right now. You know, we don't all have lanyards around our neck with our company and our title, but that is a metaphor for saying, just introduce yourself, be warm, welcoming, be ready to meet some new people. And, you know, if you want to know more about somebody, feel free to reach out, feel free to ping them. That's really what this community is all about. So thank you from Founders Live for being here. And now, before we jump into the Fireside chat, we've got some great sponsors that we want to give a nod to. So first of all, Firebrand, they are an amazing marketing group, and they've created a 4-week boot camp that all of our presenters are going to get discounted access to, that really takes you through the branding, the messaging, and helps you hone in on your startup pitches. The GSV Labs for everybody that's presenting, they've thrown in a discounted access to GSV Passport. So tons of great tools in there for startups to get discounts on tech tools, on SaaS products, and then for the winner, they'll be getting a year free. Paladin is an amazing network for underrepresented entrepreneurs. They're offering all presenters their first year free on Zendesk. AWS Activate, the great partners that they are, they have put up $5,000 to all presenting companies and $10,000 of AWS credits for the winner. Google Cloud will be giving all entrepreneurs a $3,000 cloud credit. So always good to offset those server costs. And last but not least, Founders Network. They are an invite-only founders network for peer-to-peer mentorship. And so our presenters will be getting that invite to join their network and connect even more and get that mentorship that is so helpful. So, Kevin,
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I am ready. Can you hear me? Can everyone still hear me well?
Yes,
Perfect.
We can.
We actually have a couple more highs in here. We have someone from LA, Dave from LA.
Oh, nice. Oh, Dave, good to see you on here. Dave has actually sponsored some of these events, not just in San Francisco, but also in London. So big thank you to Dave.
Thank you, Dave. And then we have Lydia here from Brazil, all the way from Brazil, tuning in.
Nice, Lydia.
Hey, Lydia.
Welcome.
Aman from San Francisco. And then we have someone here from Vietnam. Tui, how would you pronounce it?
Fully international. This is good.
International, all places of the world. Oh, and we got our answer back. It was 10:11 in the morning in Indonesia.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. All right, so that's more manageable than I thought. It's a competition.
Awesome. So let's bring Josh Krammes onto the scene here. Hey, Josh, it's great to see you.
Hey, good to see you as well.
Good to see you. And so for anyone that's not aware of Josh is a mentor and advisor for a number of accelerators. Josh, which accelerators do you want to mention in the first half?
Do I want to plug somebody for free, you mean?
But there's, I think, Founders Network, Pi, couple more than San Francisco, really. So it's really exciting to have you here. And we're actually doing a series here at Founders Live, where at least Founders Live San Francisco. How do we get Josh towards the center here? This is interesting. I'm still learning the tooling. Okay, there we go. All right, I like this view better. Cool. So
I can sit backstage, Kevin.
You're doing great. You're doing great, Stone. It'd be great to have you here and have you involved in the
That's how
conversation.
you framed it earlier, Stone, that me and Kevin are the entertainment. It's like, what could possibly go wrong, right?
So
And I have to say hi to Tui in Vietnam. Hi, Tui. Hi, Na. Old friends of mine.
yeah,
Nice.
that's so wonderful. And we have someone here from Mexico as well. So for me, I've actually had two failed companies, and in those failures, what I've realized is the importance of finding product market fit and also how elusive it is. And there's not enough great content, I think, out there for entrepreneurs. Like there's different stages of the business, but not enough on product market fit. And so I wanted to create a series here as part of our Fireside chat, Q&A entertainment session to really dive into this. And I'm going to be bringing in a number of people from the Valley to get their perspective on this topic. And so Josh, you and I have been talking about this for the last few weeks, and would love your insight. Like what is I guess to start, like what is the number one or two things you see from all of the companies that you've advised in terms of finding product market fit, and how has that changed over time?
Sure. I'll frame it for the audience a little bit too. I've been a mentor and advisor to accelerators like Techstars and 500 and Alchemists and Founders Network and lots of other groups around the world in Europe, and been really fortunate in my career to meet entrepreneurs from all over the world. And the biggest the biggest problem I see when early stage companies at that sort of part of their evolution is not deciding specifically which market to attack. And I see it especially in like the B2B. If you're a B2B startup, the reality is that enterprise, SMB, and startups will all likely buy your product, right? It sort of becomes, I've seen too many startups fail because they started in sort of small, like early emerging and growth companies, and then all of a sudden they met one enterprise group at one event, and it totally shifted their thinking to, because that one data point said, well, gosh, we're an enterprise company with 100,000 employees, or we would totally buy this. Like, this is a product we need. And so then, you know, you get into the 18-month sales cycle, and it can just completely destroy your startup if you choose to continue to like vacillate in terms of which market to go after. So specifically, like that's the biggest failure or obstacle I see. I've seen a lot of startups just have to literally close their door because they just kept chasing 10 different markets instead of focusing really on one. And seen startups that have gone through like Series A, B, and C rounds of funding that have failed because they made that same decision. Once they got their Series B money in the door, they sort of came across and said, oh, well, we're going to go to the enterprise market now. And it just destroyed their culture. Their sort of resources were drained almost, you know, immediately. So that's like the one big thing that I think is really important to key on is make sure you focus on that exact market.
And sometimes it can feel like in that particular example is very interesting because it with one enterprise deal, it can feel like a lot of money. And I think there's this, that makes it feel lucrative at least.
So I have a question in terms of like the strategy at that point, right? Is you've had these successful customers that are smaller and not bringing in as much revenue. And you have this one that theoretically would bring in a ton of revenue, but you probably had to do a lot of extra work around. So, you know, you have these two competing places, and no company should scale until they've sold a lot of the same thing to a very happy customer, right? Like that's the rule. So do you think that they should devote a tiny amount of time to the enterprise, mostly focus where their early traction has been? Like, what do you see that actually works in that situation?
I think it's a case-by-case basis. It's a really good question, and I hate to use that answer, but I can give you one specifically from my background. Back in 2011, I joined a company called SoftLayer, and SoftLayer was an infrastructure as a service, dedicated managed hosting, largest independent cloud provider. We sold the company in 2013, I'm sorry, to IBM, at which time, and it was a multi-billion-dollar exit for the company, and we had one enterprise customer, and we had one enterprise customer that we inherited because the enterprise company bought one of our customers, and the customer said, no, we're still going to stay with SoftLayer. And it's sort of funny. By the time we were acquired, two of our largest customers joined sort of SoftLayer as startups. They scaled, and I think two of our top 10 customers were WhatsApp and Fitbit. And when they started their companies, they rolled onto SoftLayer as startups, and they grew and became, I guess, enterprise grade customers, but they were still not the size they are today during our acquisition. So speaking from that direct experience, like I sort of tend to think that if you have customers, you're onboarding customers, they're enjoying your product, hopefully some of them are paying for your product, continue to do that until it gets to a point of critical mass where that business can sustain other efforts into going into a new market like enterprise. Because enterprise sales cycles are long, as I mentioned, but the other thing that I think startups don't realize, even growth stage startups with like 100 employees, they don't realize that enterprise companies have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of employees, and the procurement that goes on to close the deal inside of that enterprise company takes so long. I mean, you have one engineering manager that's like, I have to do this, and then he has to go get a rubber stamp, or she has to go get a rubber stamp from 100 other people in accounting and legal and all that stuff that says, sure, go buy that product. And it's just, it can break you. And so if you're growing, then I say keep doing what you're doing best until you can afford the time, energy, and resources to maybe dip your toe in that water.
Yeah. And I guess as well, Josh, like the product might need to look a little bit different to onboard enterprise. Like the feature set that enterprises need could be very different than the feature set that a startup needs in the same problem space. I can understand that. And how have you seen, early stage companies and getting that initial investment and finding product market fit? Like, how do you see that has changed over the last 10 or 15 years? Because sometimes I read material and I feel it might be a little bit outdated compared to like what is happening today.
Yeah, I think every 10 years you sort of have a cycle change when it comes to investments. So what I mean by that is in 10 years ago, so let's take 2009, 2010, we're sort of coming out of a recession. Tech had sort of a bubble a few years before that. There was a lot more risk tolerance at that point than I think there is today. A lot of times you see angel investors at this point asking the same questions that your Series A investors would ask 10 years ago. And so they're asking for metrics and numbers and revenue and onboarding growth, and they're looking for sustained investment. And this is your first round. It's made seed rounds really hard, especially when you're working with angels that are doing one of two things. They're chasing the unicorn, or their portfolio is so small that they're going to really dig in and diligence. So I think the two-part question that you had about investment and product is that if your product, like I mentioned this to you the other day, Kevin, like you have 3 B's in my book. Like they're the most important things when it comes to product is, does it change your users' behavior? Is it beautiful, and will people buy it? If you can check those 3 boxes off, you're likely going to have a lot better time raising your round, going to market that way, than if you only have 2 of the 3.
I think those 3 B's were great. And would you say like that's the most important order as well? Like, trying to figure out making a product that changes users' behavior, and then making it beautiful, and then figuring out. Is that the order?
I can only speak from my own personal opinion and experience. Yeah. So don't hang your hat on this, but my personal opinion, my background is psychology and human behavior. If you have a product that changes my behavior for the better, then I'm sold. But if you have all these friction points where it's really hard to like use it and keep coming back to using it, probably won't use the product. Sort of a creature of habit that way, and I think most people are. Sort of see it like how we consume our news. A lot of people use the same outlets every single day, month after month, right? Just because it's habit forming. So I'm really big on the behavior piece.
Yeah.
For me, it doesn't have to be beautiful. If it is, that's cool. But if it changes my behavior, that's usually a good thing. It's usually for a good reason.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like of the 3. And then, of course, like my business brain takes over and say, well, somebody has to buy this product, right? So I'd say that would be the second one. I'm sure designers would like scream and yell at me for saying that, because it has to be beautiful, and it has, and that's fine. I get where they're coming from, and I agree with that. I just think like early stage startups is sort of where we're focusing on tonight. And I think early stage startups need to focus on changing behavior.
So you spoke to them changing customer behavior. I mean, we're in the middle of a global pandemic, right? And talking about product market fit, it's kind of a weird time of, do you plan for what's happening now? Do you plan for post-pandemic? What do you think? Because I know we've got a lot of startup folks in the audience. What do you think people should really be thinking about changing their behavior in terms of product market fit now, and kind of future-proofing it for once pandemic is over?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, you've seen the rise of like the live stream apps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Parties, like everybody's got a watch party app now, and unfortunately, there's like a subgroup of like 4 or 5 companies that are doing it really, really well. I mean, you've got the big ones, but then you have startups like Cast app that's doing it really well. It's a really good example. It's like, do it for the sustained long run, in my opinion. If you have an ability to capture market now, someday, some way, like the world will go back to some sort of normalcy, maybe, right? I sort of think you have to plan for worst case scenario. My personal opinion is that I'm dating myself right now, but I remember when I was in college, my girlfriend lived across the country and she would come visit. But when I took her to the airport to go home, I could go to the gate with her. That's not our life anymore, and it's totally normal. We've adapted. It's fine. We may have unique challenges like in the marketplace like that are unpredictable right now. My personal opinion, again, it's just based on what I've seen. You have to focus on a tiered stage go-to-market. Like, go to market over the next 18 months, assuming that it's going to be like it is today and like it's been since basically March. With the knowledge that at some point in those 18 months, you'll have some sort of product development, 2.0, 3.0, 1.5, whatever you want to call it, where you are going to be able to go to market in a new way. That's how all growth companies do go to market, you know? So
Definitely.
I personally, if like a startup came to me and said, should I plan for 18 months or should I plan for 36? I'd say, if you can plan for both, do both. If you can plan for 18, focus on what's in front of you.
Yeah.
Worry about 18 months. Like every 6 months, start that 18-month clock again.
Right. Yeah. If you don't survive next 6 months, then what's the point of planning for 36 months?
Exactly.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Good advice.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's advice. I'm just a really pragmatic guy. I'm not, I'm not the guy that's going to swing and hit a home run every time. I'm great with doubles and singles. They win games,
Good analogy. And for me, one of the things is like, hey,
you're a fan of what's his name?
Oh, sorry, go on, Stone.
Right. No, go for it, Kevin.
Yeah. So one of the questions, I think there's a little bit of lag.
Go ahead, Kevin.
So one of the questions that I have for you, Josh, is for me, when I'm thinking about developing a new business, the thing that I hear often is you want to launch your product before it's, if it looks too good, then you've launched too late. And I wanted your opinion on that because I go to Product Hunt and I see a different thing, but then I read a different thing. And I guess it depends on what vertical maybe that I'm targeting, but I want to know your opinion. And do you see differences across verticals?
Yeah, my opinion is that you talk to your customers. So if you haven't launched it, you're going to do an alpha or a beta, again, whatever you want to call it. You're going to have a very small group of users that are going to test it out. Have them test it out and talk to them before you go to like a wider launch. The smartest CEOs that I've ever worked with or for are the ones that build their business based on what their customer feedback is. Mm-hmm. And so the reality is, as an early stage company, your website, your app, your platform, your products are going to look different 2 years from now than they do today. This is product evolution. You're going to bug fix, you're going to redesign, you're going to do a lot of things along the way. I say it does. I remember when we had this conversation, it's like the hardest question to answer, but like Kevin, for me, like I really think that it does not need to be near perfect. If you've got a beta group that will test it so you can prove the concept, then you get enough feedback from those people. You can go back, make the tweaks that you need to go to market so then you can prove the value.
It's that feedback loop with your customer and understanding your customer.
I think so. I mean, I live and breathe in the developer world, and they're very, very like specific and particular on the products that they use. And so you don't want to, because once you lose them, and you don't want that to happen. So the best way to keep them engaged is get it to a point where you can say to them verbally, hey, look, like we're going to launch this, but it's not there yet. Would you be part of our beta group and offer us that feedback? That's, again, they might come back with you with things that are on your product roadmap, so that it validates and reconfirms where you're going. And they may, you may get consensus from your beta trial that was feedback you weren't even thinking about. So,
Totally. Do we have time for one more question? I think maybe one small question.
I think we've got time for one small question. Yeah.
Cool. And the audience is welcome to ask their questions as well.
We had one unexpected question, which is, what do you usually eat for breakfast?
I'm not sure where this question is coming from, but
yeah.
What would be the short answer, Josh?
I usually do a smoothie.
Smoothie.
Pretty exciting stuff.
I'm doing athletic greens for breakfast.
Nice.
It's been working.
That's good.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Josh, it's been so amazing and wonderful to have you here. And I wish we could just have you here for another hour, really. And we're excited to continue this series. And thank you for everything that you do for the community in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, in Seattle, and with all your accelerators. It's great to have mentors that we can rely on, and have people that can help us open the doors.
Yeah, listen, I appreciate the opportunity to be a guest. Thanks for having me and hosting me. Love the hospitality. I'll put it out to anybody in the audience. Find me on LinkedIn if I can ever be helpful, please do. And one last thing. Hi, Mom.
Wonderful. Cool. Well, Josh, thank you so much.
Yeah. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Josh.
So, Stone, we're going to the next part of our event.
Yes.
What part is that?
This is the part where startups prove that they can sell in 99 seconds. So it's going to be moving quick. I will remind everybody what this is going to look like. Let me share my screen here. All right. So how this is going to go is we're going to have 5 companies go through their 99-second pitches. Now it's going to go pitch for 99 seconds. Kevin's got a timer that's going to be ready to go. And at that 99-second mark, we will cut them off, whether they're mid-sentence or not. And then the audience gets the chance to ask a few questions. So as these people are presenting, as these amazing companies are showing their stuff, comment your questions in the side. Now, we've got some questions that we're going to be asking them, but we would love to be giving them audience questions. So throw whatever you're thinking up there. We'll pick a few of the best ones and ask them to the founders. And without further ado, shall we start the pitches, Kevin?
For sure. What are the companies that are pitching today? We have 4 companies.
We've got 4 great companies. So first of all, we've got BoardSeatMeet. They are backstage right now, ready to go. Next up, we've got Mavera, followed closely by Holo Ash, and last but not least, Podium Zone. So all of our presenters are backstage. They know that they've only got 99 seconds. They're ready to go. They might be squirming in their seats a little bit, but let's get it going.
Cool.
Shall we?
Perfect. And then if Sue from HoloAsh can come backstage, that'd be great at this time. And we'll be, and I think, we're going to have 99 seconds of Q&A, and then we're going to have 4 minutes of questions. We would love to get questions from the audience. So please, put your questions in the comment box, and we'll choose a couple of them. And we also have Nick here, Nick Hughes from Founders Live, founder of Founders Live. Here we go. Cool. So I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to bring Rika on board. Rika is the first presenter. Hey, Rika.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Perfect. It's perfect. Cool. So I'm going to share my screen, Rika, and we're going to get Siri's help to do our little countdown here. Cool. So we'll get started. Hey, Siri. Please turn on a timer for 99 seconds.
Your timer is set for 1 minute and 39 seconds.
Okay, Rika.
Hi, I'm Rika, CEO of BoardSeatMeet, BSM, where we're driving equity and diversity, empowering the high-performance boardroom. Next. BSM started when I attended a panel on boardroom diversity and understood the struggles underrepresented groups have in getting to the boardroom. Next. As I did research, I found the data really disheartening. I mean, in 2004, the representation of minorities in the boardrooms was 15%, and it's only gone up 4 percentage points in 15 years. And as I started to understand the root causes of the challenges, I was then inspired and thought there must be a way to solve for this with the power of technology. Next. And that's how BSM was born, a social impact venture where our vision is to drive enterprise value by advancing gender and racial parity in board governance. And our mission is to make it easy and seamless for corporate boards and executives from disenfranchised groups to solve for siloed networks and barriers to social capital with a simple and elegant platform. Next. The root cause of all this traces back to two things. One is a lack of early exposure in careers for women or persons of color, and the second is a lack of access to social capital. Those relationships that develop on golf courses, cigar rooms, poker rooms, I think you get the picture. And we're doing this with the power of a simple application where board members offer their availability and candidates make requests to meet. It's kind of like LinkedIn meets OpenTable, but for the boardroom. Our platform will serve boards, their members, candidates, and corporations that want to more tangibly commit to cultivating leadership of minority people, like many of you. Next. The addressable market is really big, given the revenue we'll generate from board placements, corporate sponsors, and candidates, $4.5 billion in the US alone. Next.
We need to stop you. 9 seconds.
Oh, and that's time.
That's time. Cool, wonderful, Rika.
Well done.
She's the first online presenter for Founders Live for our first event. So thank you so much, Rika. So we're going to go to 4 minutes of Q&A. So let's go to your last slide here. Cool. Stone, do we have a question or do we have a question from the audience?
Yeah, so I think the audience is going to start bringing some questions in shortly. Nick, actually, our founder, what types of companies are you bringing to this first?
We're taking this, well, the target audience aren't just companies, they're also candidates that want to be on boards. But the corporations that we're going to be targeting for sponsorships are those large multinational companies that say a lot and speak a lot about promoting diversity and leadership, but we want to give them the opportunity to put their money where their mouth is and be sponsors and underwrite members onto the platform. And also boards that are desperately looking for diversity in their boards. And these would be companies that are private or public company private or public companies that are $500 million in revenue and 1,000 or more employees in the organization.
We've got another question here from Chris Dawson. What unique user acquisition strategies are you utilizing?
Well, this one was actually kind of by accident, but we're actually also writing a book called Dear Chairwoman that's specifically focusing on gender equity piece of what we're targeting. And Dear Chairwoman is where we're interviewing women who are on boards today about their journey to the boardroom and how it is being on the board, often the only women in the boardroom, and turning those interviews into letters as if they were writing to the women of tomorrow. So the Gen Z and young millennials that are looking to advance their career and perhaps target a board. So if, for example, one of the women we interviewed was Kathy Waller, who's on the board of Delta Airlines, former CFO of Coca-Cola, and her letter would start with, Dear Chairwoman, i.e. Generation Z millennials, my name is Kathy, and this is my story, love Kathy. So we're compiling these letters into a book, which we're going to be publishing, but we'll be running a drip campaign with the letters along the way to get the word out about what we're doing at BoardSeatMeet and really inspire with the magic of the narrative and the story.
So wonderful, so wonderful. We also have another question here from Amos in the audience. What's the product and how will you make money?
I'm so glad you asked that because I didn't have a chance to get to it in my slide. So we're actually building a platform that it's a LinkedIn meets OpenTable where board members will provide their availability and candidates on their other side will be able to do a search for board members by geography or by industry and essentially find board members that have made availability to meet over Google Meet. And they'll make a meeting request, kind of like what you see as a LinkedIn request. And it's up to the board member to choose who they want to meet with out of the hundreds of people that might apply for their August 5th at 10 a.m. Eventually, as we get scale, and we're in closed beta right now, as we get scale, we'll be able to have an algorithm that tells a board member, based on what they're looking for from an expertise, out of the hundreds of meeting requests, which are the top 3 candidates they should meet with, for example. And so it's a very simple orchestration platform. And so the model around it is really to serve candidates that are going to be subscription members. It'll be boards that will find candidates through our platform and place those board members, and there'll be a placement fee. And then, as I mentioned earlier, there'll be corporations that will sponsor us and underwrite the membership. And of course, we want to partner with affiliates, because there's a whole ecosystem around board readiness, around board packaging and content. And so that's another angle to which we want to go to market, very much with strategic partnerships as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think we have time here for one more question.
One more, great.
We have 30 seconds here. Can women who are starting careers be able to utilize BSM to get them onto?
Absolutely. So there are plenty of board members that we've spoken to, because we've done the product market fit. Still love to talk to you, Josh, so please stand by. Where the board members may not be looking for diversity to build their boards, or maybe they're retired board members, but they still want to be relevant, and they still want to continue to connect with future generations. And so even for the young women that aren't necessarily board ready, they can sign up to be candidates and reach out to board members that are on the platform and get that early exposure that's really going to help them to advance through their career and one day be on the board. And that would be for women and for people of men and women of underrepresented groups and people of color.
Wonderful,
Thanks
wonderful.
for asking the question.
There is like one question here, which, it seems like our audience really wants to ask, and they want to hear your answer, which is, how are you addressing the fact that corporations don't really want us in those positions?
Well, like everything else with the internet, we can start shaming them. No, that would probably be a good idea. So at the end of the day, what is clear is that the numbers don't lie. What is clear is that diversity yields high performance. At the end of the day, it's about, for corporations, they're going to be held accountable to do whatever they can to ensure that the performance is going to be outperform the competitors. And so don't be surprised if there's even lawsuits where boards will be sued or organizations will be sued because they aren't bringing diversity, and not just because it's the right thing to do, we all know that, but because it's a smart thing to do. And if corporations are purposefully not doing it just because they don't want to, then they're not serving their shareholders, which is fundamentally, at least for public companies, what they should be doing. So high performance comes from diversity, and there's no denying it.
Cool. Thank you so much, Rika. It was great to have you here. And remember, the audience, this is an audience vote competition. So we're going to go to our second presenter. Rika, thank you so much. See you towards the end. And for everyone to remember, let me get Rika, still getting used to our technology here. And for everyone to remember, the winner will also get an additional 4 minutes of Q&A, and we would love to have the audience participate. We had a lot of questions from the audience, Stone. That was great.
Yeah. I know. I was ready to ask some questions, and I just didn't need to.
Yeah.
Rika, I hope you stick around backstage. I think I might know some startups and some investor groups that might be interested in using this.
This is fantastic. So we're going to bring on our second presenter. Let me change the banner here, or remove this banner.
Up next, we've got Mavera, right?
Mavera.
Perfect.
Sanyukta.
Hello.
Did we pronounce your name correctly, Sanyukta?
Yes, Sanyukta. That's right.
Okay, perfect. Cool. It's great to have you here. So I'm going to pull up your presentation. We're going to share the screen. And remember, we're going to get Siri's help. All right. Hey, Siri, please turn on a timer for 99 seconds.
Okay, your timer is set for 1 minute and 39 seconds.
Cool.
All right. So by 2030, almost 20% of the US population will be over 60. Next. So the problem is that 90% of older adults want to age independently, but age-related disability means that they are going to need on an average 3 years of long-term care. And that's going to cost them anywhere between 20 to 100K in annual costs. Next. So now the solution is to delay the onset of disability. Now it may seem specious, but research actually shows that meaningful social connections can drastically reduce odds of developing disability. And so what we need to do is get families to proactively stop relying on one single family member for supporting their older adults. They have to focus on prevention of age-related disabilities, and they have to build up strong social connections. Next. So the Mivera solution is helping families create these social circles in their community. We're providing low-friction technology to connect these circles to each other as well as the elder. And then we're finally providing content to help prevent disabilities. And these are experts that are providing this content. Next. So what we want to do is improve the quality of life for elders. So the quality of life metric that's most important to most people is communication and social interaction. We want to reduce the impact on family caregivers and reduce long-term care expenses. Next. So what do we ask from you? We're asking that you support us. So we are crowdfunding right now on ifundwomen.com. And then sign up if you have parents or grandparents. We have a free beta going on right now, so you can help us test it. And then join us.
That's it. We got time there. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's great to hear about your product. And so we're going to start 4 minutes of Q&A at 7:55. Cool.
So
we have Stone?
I've actually got a question, but I'm not seeing anything in the comments just yet. But please, folks, don't forget to put your questions there. So this is designed around, I guess, talk to us a little bit more about what that interaction looks like to build that community.
Right. So what we need to put in place around families like myself is a group of trusted people. Now, we all have these social circles in our life, but as we age, they kind of start thinning out. So what we want families to start doing is proactively get engaged with their parents' social circle and figure out, hey, if mom and dad, something happens, who can I rely on for help, or do I have to go alone? Because that's what I see happening in my peer group, that there's this one person, 75% of the primary caregivers tend to be women. And what happens is that they are sacrificing their family lives to go help mom or dad, when there could be like a neighbor that helps out, or their mom's best friend who just doesn't know that this stuff is going on. And it happened to me personally where, my dad had a mild heart attack. And at that point we were scrambling. And then later on people were like, we didn't know, why didn't you tell us? Right? Like, we meet your mom and dad every other day. And we were wondering, and you never came to us for help. And so it would have been so much easier if those connections had been established beforehand. And it was just that, I got so involved in my own life, I hadn't kept in touch with my parents' friends. So that's just one example of what I'm talking about. But I'm seeing this pattern over and over again where people are just like, oh, mom and dad are superheroes, nothing's going to happen to them. And when it does happen, then you're like, wait, how am I going to deal with this? When there are their friends and your relatives even that have gone through this, they've figured stuff out, you can rely on them for help. So it's your community, right? So you can build it together.
Got it. Okay. We've got a question here from one of our viewers. Can you describe any test marketing that you've done? Yes,
absolutely. So I have actually surveyed a whole bunch of families that I've interacted with. So about 100 people as part of a family, and that's what has come back to us. So we started off thinking about what kind of hardware products, software products are you using, and they're telling us that that was not the problem. What the problem was the social connection. So we have talked to a bunch of people, and then there's research, 2 big research studies that we are relying on. One from UMich, that's the primary one that I quoted in my presentation, which talks about how meaningful social connections actually contribute to reduction in or mitigation of the risk of developing an age-related disability in older life.
Wow, we have a lot of questions here. We can't pick them all, but we'll pick this one from Malur. Are you competing with senior living centers?
Yes and no. So in some cases, what will happen is that if people are seriously impaired, they will need assisted living. I mean, there's no getting away from it. So what we're trying to do is early on, how can we delay that thing? I mean, we all know of people who aged so healthfully and right till the very end were able to stay in their own homes. And so in a way, yes, maybe we are competing with senior living centers in a way. And personally, I also feel that, when we have elders leave our communities and go live in these community centers, we lose a lot. Because, I mean, as a mom, I know who my prime customers for buying cookies for my Girl Scouts are, right? They are the elders in our community. They are super supporters of all these kind of social things. So when they leave the community, it's a loss for the community as a whole. I mean, they hold such important stories and they're a part of our fabric. And so in a way, I feel like, senior living centers are not the perfect solution. We should come together as a community and support people living independently in their own homes.
Cool, cool. And one super last question from Kalia. Let's do 30 seconds here.
I think this is a tougher question.
This is a tougher question. What distinguished Mavera from a group chat of members / friends or Facebook where everyone can see each other's life updates?
So the biggest difference is that it's more interactive. So on Facebook, someone has to initiate that conversation. You have to kind of log in. With Mivera, what we're doing is we're doing low friction technology. We're using existing technologies like SMS. It could be WhatsApp. Like we're using the platforms that you're already on, but we're kind of providing the interactions, if you will. So we make sure that those interactions are more regular, are more meaningful. Whereas what we found on Nextdoor is, someone posts something, everyone can see it, or even if a small group of people can see it, they don't necessarily see it at that time that they are looking for. So because they don't know that they have been asked to be a part of this community around elder care, around wellness of the elder. So that's what differentiates us, that we are very intent on helping this loved one who is in our community stay in their own home, as against Facebook, which is more just kind of like, free for all fun. So this is more kind of intentional.
Cool. Thank you. I think we're out of time there. So Sanyukta, thanks so much for introducing Mavera to the community.
Thank you. And thanks for the wonderful questions, guys.
Yeah, it's great to have all these great questions from the community. And it makes everyone feel so much more connected to, in this time with social distancing to the San Francisco and Bay Area community. So thank you so much, audience, and we'll go on to our next presenter. Thank you, Sanyukta. Cool. So we have
Holo Ash. Sue.
Hi.
Holo Ash. Hey, Sue. Welcome.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you so much for hosting this. It's great to hear the presentations from everyone. Thank you, Stone.
No problem. Glad to have you.
I'm going to start sharing my screen here. Let's see how that goes. The tech gods are hopefully still with us. Okay. All right. Is this the right slide?
Yes, I think so. All right.
Perfect. All right. Hey, Siri, please turn on a timer for 99 seconds. All right. Siri didn't respond. Hey, Siri, please turn on a timer for 99 seconds.
Your timer is set for 1 minute and 39 seconds.
Oh, I think my Siri got triggered.
All right, Sue, go ahead.
Have you ever felt stressed, anxious, and wished you could talk to someone? Well, I did. And growing up, my co-founder and I struggled with ADHD. So we came up with a product to help people like us next. And that's a lot of people, like half of the population. So we created a digital experience for mental wellness and therapy. Next. Our mobile app, Ashley, allows you to voice chat with therapist-trained AI friends anytime, anywhere. So Ashley checks in your mood, converses with you, and guides you to CBT resources, all for free. And we recently also added a group chat feature with real-life users. Next.
Is this the right side?
Next, yeah, after this, I think.
Okay.
Yes, our team is very diverse, yet complementary, and we're luckily advised by Stanford psychologist and Discord CMO. And next. So we know therapy can be out of reach for a lot of people. It's oftentimes expensive, and some people experience situational anxiety. So we trained our AI to follow a counseling approach that's used by many therapists to treat anxiety and depression.
Cool. We'll give you an extra 10 seconds just because of the slide issue.
We just grew into 23,000 users and 1.3 million interactions, and we're really excited for the future. So make sure you check us out and talk to you on the group chat on Ashley, hopefully.
Okay. Cool. We'll go to the last slide here. There, join the conversation. Awesome. Sue from HoloAsh.
Yeah. HoloAsh is our parent company, but Ashley is our app product.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I think, are we getting some questions from the audience? Are there, Kalia, thank you so much for these questions. Are there prompts and health recommendations to deal with the seniors' needs, or does the network need to originate the content?
So right now we are onboarding some content that's available to us on the internet, and we get it approved by our therapists, but we are not yet at the Netflix original stage yet, hopefully, where we produce our more content.
We've got a question here from Amos. How have you validated the AI is capable of doing this? And won't this product need some FDA approval?
Yeah, so we are actually targeting the consumer market, and that's why we do not require FDA approval. We do not necessarily claim that this will resolve and treat, such important issues like depression, but this is like a quick
Oh, it looks like we've got a little technical difficulty. Maybe Kevin spoke a little too soon about the tech gods being with us.
I think.
Sure. We'll be back in just a moment.
Yeah, let's see.
Do we still have her backstage?
We still have her backstage.
Okay.
And apparently I made a mistake with Kalia that one of the questions was actually for Mavera. So my apologies.
Yeah. I actually thought that, but I was like, oh, maybe could be also senior, so I just responded in case.
Wonderful.
Well, we've definitely got another question here for you. Dave is asking, how are you going to make money? What's the profit focus if the main app is free?
Yeah, correct. So we are following a freemium version, first of all. So we are right now focusing on actually creating some more features that our users asked us, and we are going to launch them in a premium version. So it's very startup classic, right? But other than that, we also provide resources, and we would like to connect with therapists, some people based on matchmaking after taking those initial steps with Ashley. They can continue with a therapist that's dedicated to them, and that has its own advantages, of course. And also we're thinking of creating our own content and putting it on the resources tab where we have, and monetizing through there with affiliate and collaborations and lead gen and more. Yeah. But we're pre-revenue right now, so.
Well, it sounds like you've got a lot on your plate to build up to, which is exciting.
Yeah, totally.
Malur has a follow-up question to that. The wellness market being as crowded as it is, how are you really setting yourself apart?
Absolutely. Definitely agree. It's very noisy and it's a difficult market, but we don't have any direct competitor who's like us. There's some meditation apps or there's AI chatbots, but there is no available mental health focused AI voice chat right now. And that's a very interesting niche for us. And by essence, we are differentiated, I think.
So you're counting on your tech to really bring you through and make sure that experience is just right.
Yes, correct. So, or like algorithm or deep learning algorithms and NLP will detect the emotions in the voice, and that also adds to the data provided in the background to the AI. And with the more data we get, the AI is getting better and better. It's like getting to know someone. You get better responses, basically.
Great. And Kevin, do we have time for one more question? Looking at you backstage.
We do have time for one more question.
Okay. Let's go to Luis. can this replace prescription medicine for some people or only complement it?
Yeah, so it won't replace it, and we don't have such a big claim yet since we just launched 8-9 months ago. But we want to accompany it. We know that like it helps usually therapists a lot too. So if you regularly see a therapist, the information your therapist has on you as a patient is very limited because you only see them 1 hour or 2 hours per week. And with this, you can regularly check in your mood and get your voice data. So this also actually helps therapists get to know you and assess you with the right tools better.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Wow,
cool.
That's great.
Sue, it's so wonderful to have you here as our third presenter, and great to hear about HoloAsh. We're going to be going on to our fourth and final presenter for the evening. So Sue, thank you so much. Round of applause.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you so much to you for hosting this, and looking forward to the next presentation. Bye-bye.
Perfect. And remember, the winner will get an additional 4 minutes of Q&A.
Yeah. So we've got some questions saved up here for, I think, most presenters so far.
That's so great. Cool. Thank you, Sue. And then Mike from Podium Zone. Hi, Mike. Great to see you. Great to see you. So I'm going to share my screen here. Let's change the banner, or we'll turn the banner off just for now. And yeah, so let me share my screen. Okay. All right, there we go. And I'm going to turn on the timer. Hey Siri, please turn on a timer for 99 seconds.
Your timer is set for 1 minute and 39 seconds.
All right.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike. I'm the founder of Podium. Next. I've been mountain biking for 15 years now, snowboarding for 4, and computer gaming since I can remember. And I founded Podium because I was frustrated that I couldn't experience the same deep engagement that we get from computer games, but in action sports. For example, I can't instantly challenge my friends to see who gets down a trail faster or who's progressing the quickest on jumps. And second, it's difficult and slow to find new people to enjoy my sport with. Next, we're gamifying action sports by bringing the first digital action sports hub to market where you can engage your community, progress your skills, and compete with rivals. Next. To engage your community, you download the free Podium app, make new connections, and debate the latest developments in action sports. Next. To progress, you buy a device and earn achievements across skill and time-based challenges. Next. So why can't current technology deliver the gaming-like experiences that we can? Well, mobile apps like Strava lack integrity, only 28% trust today's tech, and electronic hardware like Garmin lacks community engagement. Next. There's 200 million people in action sports today. We believe we can get 16 million of those actively engaging in the app and sell to 5% of those at $170, given a $1.7 billion opportunity. Next. We're launching the community app this month and launching the IoT-powered gamification experiences in
That's time. Cool. Thank you so much, Mike. And put your ticker down here. So we got 4 minutes of Q&A. So Mike, first question for you is, do you have competitors in this market? And when did those competitors launch?
Yeah, so in terms of, having a community and then, gamifying that community, no, there's no real direct competitor to us. Obviously, we have apps like Strava, and we do have some training hardware products in the action sports world, which analyze your skill and give you feedback to improve what you're doing. So they could potentially become direct competitors as once we've launched. Right now, there is no unified digital community for action sports in an app format. So so no direct competitors at launch, but I'm sure we will have competitors very, very quickly after that.
It's a fantastic idea. I'm excited to see it happen.
Thanks.
So I've got to ask you, I'm a VR user as of the last 6 months, and they've got some interesting options there in terms of competition with other people's recordings, even if it's not immediately live. How do you see yourself in relation to something like that?
Sorry, Stone, what did you say? Is it VR, did you say?
VR, yeah, virtual reality. So it's a little bit different, right?
Okay.
So
are you asking, so I'm not entirely sure I understand the question. Can you ask it one more time?
Fair enough. So really Podium Zone is about the competition with other people, right?
Yes,
but it's about sports in the real world.
Yes, correct.
So could you ever see some sort of collaboration with the other side of it, the virtual side of it?
Yeah, so actually what we're looking at is in the future augmented reality, right? So people are using GoPros in action sports. When we can do things like overlay data and community elements, people, for example, that you're competing with in the videos that you would look at once you're off the mountain, or you're in the pub, or you're in the bar or the restaurant reviewing the day's riding. You can look back. We could potentially look back at a video of your performance and use augmented reality to put data points to make that more engaging. I think is probably the is what we're thinking about in the future, and we'd partner with someone to do that.
Looking forward to it. I think we've got a great question here from Nick. Can you describe the user experience a bit more? Like how do we actually compete?
Yeah. So what you do is you put that device on your skis or your snowboard or your mountain bike, right? And that's connected to the internet. It has its own cellular connection. And so you would select a game mode on the device. It could be like the elevation challenge, right? So Nick, it could be me and you. We could be remote. You could be in New York. I could be in California. And we could challenge each other via the device to an elevation challenge. Who can go up and down the mountain, for the most feet in a particular time period, and one of us wins an award, right? And there's loads of different game modes because we're collecting loads of data points. And so that's sort of the general concept, is for us to implement a variety of game modes. You select those and you challenge people remotely, very much like online gaming.
Interesting. And now will that device, are we talking strictly Bluetooth device, or not Bluetooth, a cellular? Is it just about position? Is there video involved, or is it just, yeah?
So inside there's 10 sensors. We have high accuracy GPS, and we also have an inertial measurement unit in there. So we have accelerometers. We detect velocity, orientation, G-force, that kind of thing. So we can detect when you're in the air. We can detect if you're landing your jumps well. We can detect where you are, what times you're doing, how fast you're going, all sorts of stuff, really. And we've architected it as a platform so that we've got enough there to implement new game modes with firmware updates, as we go forward, basically. Yeah.
Nice. We've got another question here from Dave. What will be your primary marketing channel?
Yeah, so the channels, starting off, it's got to be social media. We want to get an athlete to endorse the product, of course. But what we're actually also looking at is sports clubs, right? So what we want to do right in the early stages is go to sports clubs and say, hey, use this app to manage your community, to get people out on their bike more, or to make sure you all turn up for Saturday's ride. Start doing that a lot, establish the community that way, and then obviously sell to the community, right? So we know you're doing a ride on this particular day of the week because you're managing your group via the app, very much like WhatsApp for action sports. And then what we'd do is we'd say, right, buy a device and make your group rides much more interesting and engaging, right? So yeah, that's sort of the market in there. But athlete endorsement is very important to us. That will help us get off the ground and attacking those clubs as well, getting them to just use the app to get their own group to engage with each other.
We have time for one more question here, which is
yeah, I think we've got a couple people that are circling around the same idea, which is, you know, companies like Nike, Fuelbound, and Fitbit have tried this but have moved away from it. What makes this different?
Yeah, well, so here's the thing, right? Running, not Fitbit, right? It's all road cycling and running, and those sports are very individual. Most people do it to keep fit, and you do it on your own. Mountain biking, snowboarding, skiing, surfing, you do it in groups. Yes, of course, sometimes you do it individually, but almost always people do it in groups. It's a much more communal type of sport, and that's why we believe this will work, because people in action sports want community engagement much more than those using Nike and Fitbit who do road sports.
Cool.
Nice.
Awesome. So I think we're going to the next stage of our event here. And Mike, thank you so much. It's great to see you and your product and pitching your company.
Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. So that part of the evening, Stone, which is the audience gets to vote on their startup.
So
the first online event for San Francisco.
What we're gonna do is Kevin, do you want to throw the screen up, or should I with the QR code? First of all, there's a link in the YouTube description where you can go to vote. It'll be on founderslive.com. And Kevin is putting up the screen right now with the QR code. So you can point your camera right at the screen, right at the QR code, and smartphones will be able to pick it up, take you to the website. It will require you to put in your email and create an account. And then that'll take you directly to our voting platform on founderslive.com. So we're going to leave this up, give people a few minutes to cast their ballots. And while we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and watch people. Let's see how many people are voting. All right. So Kevin, I've got to ask you, so, you know, let's, thank you, Nick. Thank you for posting it directly in the comments there. From that early conversation with Josh, where do you think you messed up the most in your previous startups? Like, where do you think you totally missed product market fit?
Yeah, that's
because I think that's the really interesting conversation to start up, right? We've all made mistakes.
Yeah,
we've all had some methods.
And you know, I think it's great that more founders are talking about failure, and it just, you know, more often than not, I think startups do fail. And for me, my first business was a marketplace for photographers to be able to sell amazing high quality prints online, and we had National Geographic photographers. We had photographers that had, you know, pages on Wikipedia about what they did for their audience. There was a lot of things we did get right in terms of influencer marketing in that respect. And what we failed on in this marketplace is sales, which, you know, to Josh's point, I definitely think it's incredibly important. And what I've realized since then in terms of starting a marketplace is that, and from what I've read online, H16Z talks about this as well, is what's more important is getting the demand side right. And if you got your demand, then usually you can find a way to get supply. And so what we did is we focused so much on the artist and making the artist's experience incredible so that for the first time they would sell their prints online. And we didn't focus as much on the consumers and their purchasing habits and what they need. So I think it was a combination of, you know, our products being too expensive, for example. That was one of the aspects of it.
That's a tough lesson in reality.
Yeah. And particularly for marketplaces, I feel since then it's really important to invest in yourself. And there's so much more material online today and in books than there were 5 or 10 years ago. And so I think it's incredibly important to find great material and great advisors like Josh, advisors that have built marketplaces before, specialize in them.
I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Well, I think we've probably given people enough time to vote. Shall we? Well, I mean, I don't know. It's neck and neck. We could give people another couple minutes, but this is down to the wire. If you have not cast your vote, cast it in the next minute, because this is I don't know. It's we've got a couple people vying for the top spot right now.
Close race here.
What'd you say?
It's a close race.
It is. This is exciting. For everybody that's already voted, this is yeah. No, normally the voting is not quite this tight. I'm excited to see what happens. All right, we're gonna give people another 60 seconds to get their voting.
Back up just in case you need it. The QR code is also in a link. There's a bit.ly link in the description as well as in the comments. So you can go right to the page. You do sometimes, if you're new to the Founders Live community, you need to just create an account. If you click the link again, you'll get sent back to the poll directly. You can also find the poll in the feed in case you don't see it. So if you scroll down a little bit, I'm sure you'll see the poll. So we have 4 startups here: BoardSeatMeet, Mavera, Holo Ash, and Podium Zone. Who will win the first Founders Live? $10,000 of AWS credits, $3,000 of Google Cloud credits.
Okay, it looks like
you want to share your screen?
Saying the link isn't working. Let me drop it here in the comments just to make sure that everybody's getting the chance. So we just dropped it in there one more time. We'll give you another minute or so, just in case anybody's still having technical difficulties. And thank you for bearing with us and the temperamental nature of the tech gods.
So Stone, I have a question for you. Actually, we've known each other for a year or two now, and I never asked you what made you move from Seattle to San Francisco and the Bay Area.
Well, it was actually when I went to college. I came down here at the ripe old age of 18 for my undergraduate degree, and I just haven't been able to leave. I've tried. But I got my job at my first job out of college was Tesla, and I got that before I graduated, and you can't turn that job down, right?
It was so much smaller, the company at that time, right?
Oh yeah, Model S wasn't out on the road. There were maybe 1,800 people scattered across the globe. It's
the Roadster or the
Yeah, so they'd sold the Roadster. They weren't making that anymore. We had prototypes of Model S. And we were getting ready to launch the car at that point in time. And so, it was a wild ride of it's maybe the biggest startup you could ever imagine. Yeah. It's a startup in the car world, a still very large company compared to the rest of the world.
I would say one of probably the largest IoT device one of the largest IoT consumer devices out there.
Yeah, I think you might be right. So once I got that job, and then I started finding my way through the startup world, and the Bay Area is kind of intoxicating. There's so much going on here. It's hard to step away from it. And I still coach startup founders. I have my own startup. I'm still very involved in the community beyond just Founders Live, and it's pandemic aside, it's a very good place to be for it.
You can understand that. And I don't know if the audience knows this, but I'm actually in Seattle. I'm planning to move more permanently to the Bay Area. So excited to be connected to the community during this time with Founders Live. So let's see who won.
Yeah, we definitely had a surge of last minute. I'm refreshing the page right now just to make sure there's no other details coming in. And it looks like we've got a winner, BoardSeatMeet. Congratulations.
BoardSeatMeet. Woohoo!
Woo! All right, let's bring Rika back.
Well, let's bring Rika.
Rika, congratulations.
The first pitch of the night as well. And let me change the banner here. So Rika from BoardSeatMeet, the winner. Congratulations, Rika. Woo-hoo!
Thank you.
So I think the
Thank you. I'm doing my own emoji.
We've now, if anybody, what was that, Rika?
I'm doing my own emoji.
Oh, emoji.
I'm from Japan, so it's appropriate. So.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, if anybody's got any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments. Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Kelly.
A reminder to everybody, we'll also be having a networking event right after this. So 30 minutes of Zoom. I'll be there. Stone will be there. The community will be there. So we're excited to see you. So Stone.
I'm allowed to drink, right?
Yeah, we're allowed to drink. At this point, yes, for sure. Actually, maybe for the whole event. We don't have a rule specifically about that.
Yeah, you're at home. You can do whatever you want. So my question is, like, you've launched, it's been out there for a little bit. What's been, like, have you had any unexpected experiences that have come from it? Any surprises in terms of customers or feedback that you've gotten?
Well, so the first thing that comes to mind, well, two things. One was we had our failure. We launched a pilot earlier this year and it didn't go well. And that's putting it mildly. I'm a classic overachiever, so that hurt. But we learned a lot from that, and it really re-energized us in a really significant way. So I think that was a second surprise, right? Is just for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. So if you fail epically, the bounce back is going to be epic, right? So that's what we're working on. And then the second surprise, I have to do a shout out. I mentioned my interns earlier when we were getting ready. We were on this path working with the team, an internal core team, and another entrepreneur had suggested that we offer up an internship. And primarily because a lot of the students that are in undergrad, graduate, they're just in a very different market right now, right? They don't know what's on the other side of them graduating with COVID and coronavirus. And so as we're kind of merrily, traipsing along, it occurred to me that we have a responsibility as founders and entrepreneurs to open up internship opportunities for people that are in school, to give them the exposure, because a lot of the things that you, Stone, you, Kevin, and people in the audience take for granted in being in the startup world, it's just how much we're just absorbing at hyper speed. And that is something that, as I wish I had that opportunity as an undergraduate. And so when I posted on LinkedIn to intern with us, I was just blown away by not just the quantity of responses, but by the quality of the responses and how energized people are around what we're doing and their excitement for wanting to be a part of something that is really profound on one level. And on the other level, just the hunger and the thirst that they have to just embrace so much of this and just lean into what we're doing was incredible. And it was so hard to select. We were just going to start with 4 interns, and we ended up having 12 join us over 3 weeks, because it was just so hard to kind of turn people away with the energy and the excitement that they brought. So that was a tremendous surprise, and I'm so excited. And I just want to do a shout out to any of our interns who are online right now. We have some on the East Coast too, but they've inspired me with their energy and their enthusiasm. So that's been incredible. That's been really, really incredible.
Well, we've definitely got some people that agree. Kalia just said, who wouldn't want to apply for a chance to get involved in such an amazing venture?
That's Kalia, yeah.
Okay. Well, we've got another question here from Nick Hughes, our founder, actually. What do you need most right now?
Well, we need referrals to angel investors and some of the social impact venture groups. would be great, because I know I've advised startups in the past, so this is a little bit, me kind of proving it by being an entrepreneur myself. And I know how critical it is to get those personal recommendations to individually wealthy investors or startups, or even at the level of even some private equity, or family groups, right, that are really wanting to be part of this. And given the mission that we're on, and really what we're doing is really about high performance and yielding those results and driving value at the organizational level, I think will really resonate. So getting those introductions is key, because where we are right now, we've raised some friends and family. We need to get to that next level of venture funding to then scale and start growing the team and paying folks and all that other good stuff that comes with that. So any introductions? Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, let's definitely talk after this. I think I might have some for you.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No problem. No problem. Well, Kevin, should we switch this over to the networking side of things?
Definitely. And then let's also talk about our next event and do our final.
Yeah, before we switch over to the networking.
Yeah, awesome. So Rika, it was so great to have you here, and all the other presenters. Really amazing presentations today, and such a supportive community with all these great questions. So Rika, thank you so much for being here. We'd love to see you at our Zoom call coming up. Stone, would you be able to create that Zoom link, and we can put it in?
Yep, I've got it ready. I'm going to drop it in the comments right now. And why don't you talk about the next event while I go get the Zoom room set up?
Thank you, Stone. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Rika.
Congratulations.
See you.
Bye.
Thank you. This is going to be our official happy hour event here. So I'm going to share my screen and talk about our next event coming up. Let me share. So application window.
Oh, that dropped a lot more into the chat than I expected. I'm going to go up into the Zoom room. I'll let you take care of this. All right, Kevin?
Yeah, no problem. See you at Zoom.
See you over there. Thanks for joining in, everybody.
So audience, thank you so much for being here. Our next Founders Live event will be on Thursday, September 17th. Really excited to see everyone over there. So we'll have an Eventbrite link. That date is tentative. It may change. It really depends on the number of startups we can get and how quickly we can get them. So do you know a young startup out there in the audience? If you do, we would love for you to email me. So that's kevin@thirstysprout.com. When you're at this stage, it's really hard to get your voice heard. And so at this stage, it can be incredible just to reach out to your community, see any startups that are interested, and have them join our event here. So email me with your startup. We're looking for young startups. How do we define that? We define that as companies that have raised less than $3 million of investment. So typically they're seed stage, pre-seed, maybe just launched a prototype. So yeah, we have all of our events recorded and saved on YouTube. So you can see any of the events here, as well as from other cities. This is our first event, so we only have one event for San Francisco. And stick around for happy hour. So in the comments, we have a link. I'm just gonna put the link again. Let me copy it actually. Let me see. So here's the link, Zoom 973-417-27785. So let me put that. There's the link. Oh, that's not the link. I think it's still showing up. Okay. Cool. All right. See everyone. See everyone there. Thank you guys, and thank the community for being here.